The Cleveland Browns may be gearing up to make a massive move at the quarterback position because, according to reports, the Cleveland Browns are interested in pursuing quarterback prospect Brendan Sorsby if he decides to declare for the supplemental draft later next month. We got a lot to cover in this video, but first, if you guys are Cleveland Browns fans or just sports fans in general, this is the right place for you. Make sure you guys hit the like button, help us out in the algorithm, and hit the subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Thank you guys so much for all of the support you guys have been giving this channel recently. You guys have been absolutely killing it. And without further ado, let's get into this video. So I originally recorded a video that I was going to post yesterday, but I couldn't get it off in time about this post particularly, which was Todd McShay started this entire firestorm with Brendan Sorsby and the Cleveland Browns, where he said on his show, and I quote, this is from The Dogs, it's a Cleveland Browns podcast, make sure you guys give them a shout, they do some awesome work, but Todd McShay said on his show, if I'm the Browns, I'm drafting him, meaning Brendan Sorsby, with a first round pick, and I'm doing that because I think he's got a chance to be special. Now, this comment by Todd McShay right here kickstarted an entire firestorm on Browns social media and Browns media yesterday afternoon because Brendan Sorsby has been viewed as one of the top up-and-coming quarterback prospects that could have been a first-round pick in the 2027 draft. Now, the thing with Brendan Sorsby is that he is currently under investigation by the NCAA for gambling. He checked himself into rehab recently down in Texas. He transferred from Cincinnati down to Texas Tech, signed about, I think, a $6 million NIL deal with Texas Tech. And he checked himself into rehab for a gambling addiction. And it has been reported that his gambling addiction was so bad that he placed thousands of bets, including back to his time when he was the quarterback at Indiana University in 2024. And there is some reports that he may have even included some bets where he bet on Indiana while he was the quarterback for the Indiana Hoosiers. And according to NCAA rules, that could lead to a permanent ban and a permanent loss of eligibility for Brendan Sorsby, which means that if he wants to come out and play in the NFL, he's going to probably have to make a decision by June 30th next month to declare for the supplemental draft. Now, this would be a huge development because there has not been a supplemental draft in the NFL since 2019. Okay, now the Cleveland Browns could be very well interested in Brendan Sorsby because the Browns have had a lot of success in the supplemental draft with Bernie Kosar, obviously the famous one, and then Josh Gordon most recently in 2011 or 2012. Brendan Sorsby could be there in the supplemental draft if he does decide to declare by June 30th. But we got some monster news after the entire Browns media was debating about this Todd McShay quote. Well, Tony Grossi brought the hammer down yesterday night because he came out with a bombshell article saying that the Browns are interested in Brendan Sorsby. So as I was saying, Tony Grossi dropped a bombshell article, and this is from BrownsNation.com, this tweet here. It says, Tony Grossi says the Browns are doing their homework on controversial Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby ahead of a potential NFL supplemental draft entry. And this is the quote from Tony Grossi's article. Quote, Sorsby, 22, is the talented, physical, 6'3" and 235 pounds, and controversial Texas Tech quarterback contemplating an end run to the NFL via the seldom used supplemental draft. In the event that happens sometime in July, NFL teams are doing their homework in sizing up Sorsby as a quarterback prospect. The Browns are among those teams putting in work on Sorsby, according to his source. Now, this entire thing just shot this topic through the roof because the Cleveland Browns right now currently have a quarterback battle between Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson. That's pretty much the two front runners for the starting quarterback job for the 2026 season. The Browns obviously had Dillon Gabriel on the roster, but everybody already knows that Dillon Gabriel is not a serious or viable candidate for the starting job. The Browns also drafted Taylon Green in the 6th round during this last draft. That's a guy that you could possibly view as a developmental piece. Brendan Sorsby is different, however. Brendan Sorsby, like this article says, 6'3", 235 pounds. This guy, I would say when you watch his highlights, and I'll probably have it on the screen for you guys right now. Brendan Sorsby is sort of a mixture of Jackson Dart and Jalen Hurts. He has got a cannon of an arm. He's not the most accurate passer in the world. I think he had about his career completion percentage is about 61% or 62%. Not great. You want that to be better. But he's got a cannon of an arm. He can make almost any throw on the field. But where he supremely, gets a first-round grade by a lot of people, and why a lot of people are talking about him, is due to the fact that he is just supremely athletic. He has got a lot of athleticism to him. He's hard to bring down, and he's a good runner with the football. This last year at Cincinnati, he had about 9 rushing touchdowns, and he averaged over 5.5 yards per carry. I believe he had around 400 to 500 yards of rushing on the ground. He also had, back when he was in Indiana, he also had 9 touchdowns on the ground too in 2024, but he also ran for over 4 yards per carry as well. So Brendan Sorsby is a dual threat quarterback with a giant arm. There is a lot of potential there with Brendan Sorsby. Now, he also has 30 starts under his belt in college. Definitely is still raw as a prospect, but he is super, super intriguing. And if the Cleveland Browns were to take a chance on Brendan Sorsby, he would instantly be one of those candidates, in my opinion, to potentially get a shot to be the starter for the 2026 season. Now, do I think that the Browns should go out and get Brendan Sorsby? I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of spending a top premium pick, like we're going to get into here in a second with what Mary Kay Cabot had to say about what she would do if the Browns go after Brendan Sorsby. I would not spend a premium pick on trying to go after Brendan Sorsby, because the supplemental draft is where you would have to take one of your 2027 draft picks and go out there and try and draft and be the highest bidder to draft Brendan Sorsby. So there could be a team that tries and gives a second-round pick for Brendan Sorsby. Well, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, this 2027 draft, I feel like, is the most important draft, because this season is the most important, because you're trying to figure out, in my opinion, is Shedeur Sanders a viable long-term option at the quarterback position? I do not want Deshaun Watson to be the starting quarterback. I want Shedeur Sanders to be the starting quarterback, just because I need to know, is this guy going to be a viable option in the future, or do I have to get a guy in 2027? Brendan Sorsby is a guy that I feel like can grow into being a very good quarterback. Now, he has some raw talent. Again, he's got a huge arm. He's 6'3", 235, tough to bring down, can run with the football. Again, I think he's got a mix of Jalen Hurts and Jackson Dart in him. He's got like the arm and the recklessness, like nature, and sort of the carefree nature of Jackson Dart, alongside the rushing ability and that of Jalen Hurts, and a little bit of not the accuracy, but just a little bit of the rushing ability of Jalen Hurts. I definitely think Brendan Sorsby would be a massive upgrade to the Browns quarterback room. It's just, what are you willing to give up to get Brendan Sorsby? That is the main question. And we have got one of the people from the Cleveland Browns media who says what she would do and what she would give up to go after Brendan Sorsby. You guys are going to probably want to hear what she has to say. It's kind of crazy. So this comment right here is from Mary Kay Cabot. I believe she was on Ken and Lima's show earlier this morning, but they asked her about what she would do to go after and get quarterback Brendan Sorsby. And she says, quote, "I actually would put in a bid for him in the supplemental draft if he enters. I would probably put in a second round bid. Andrew Berry is a GM of second chances." This thing to me, is going to be the biggest question going forward for the Browns and Brendan Sorsby. What are you willing to give up for Brendan Sorsby? Do you think, if you're the Cleveland Browns, do you think you can get a better option at quarterback in the 2027 draft if you just let everything play out right now with Shedeur Sanders and Deshaun Watson and Dillon Gabriel and Taylor Green? Or do you think that taking a chance on Brendan Sorsby would be a better option for you going forward than to just let everything play out and then you get a guy in the 2027 draft like Arch Manning or Dante Moore or Lenoris Sellers or CJ Carr or whoever, Drew Mestamaker, right? That's going to be the conversation here with Brendan Sorsby and going after Brendan Sorsby. If I'm the Browns, I obviously would put a bid in, but there is no way in hell I would ever do a second-round pick for Brendan Sorsby. Do I think Brendan Sorsby has a lot of talent? Absolutely. I think he is a very talented quarterback. My only thing is that I think there could be players and quarterbacks in the 2027 draft that could be much better than Brendan Sorsby. I think that there is a much better chance that they're going to be better than him. I also am very, very scared and nervous about this gambling thing because he placed thousands of bets. He bet on his team while he was at Indiana. And I don't want to be like, a negative person, but addiction is a very touchy thing to deal with. And the Browns have had a lot of bad history with dealing with a lot of these people who are addicts. Like Josh Gordon, fantastic wide receiver, had all the talent in the world. He was just an addict. He just could not get out of his own way. Same thing with Johnny Manziel. Not a great player, but he just was an addict. He was an alcoholic. He was a partyholic. I mean, he just could not get out of his own way. And if you're the Cleveland Browns, you've already had this whole ordeal with Deshaun Watson where you had his reputation get tarnished and you've already had suspensions and all that other stuff. And in the mental aspect that everybody overlooked with Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson's reputation was tarnished. Not a lot of people really took the mental aspect into effect. Well, you look at this kid. I mean, he's 22 years old. He's got 30 starts under his belt. He's got experience. But he signed a $6 million deal. He's getting sued by his former school for that NIL deal. And he's probably not going to play college football ever again because of his gambling addiction. Now, there's probably going to be some mental hurdles that you're going to have to jump through no matter which team takes him. But this guy is supremely talented to make you second guess and say, hey, maybe this guy can be something special. So again, I would not do a second round pick. I'm not going that far as Mary Kay Cabot is willing to go. But you have 10 draft picks right now if you're the Cleveland Browns. You've got, I believe, 2 in the 4th or 3 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th, and 2 in the 7th. That's 7 draft picks right there. If I'm the Browns, the highest I'm willing to go is maybe a 3rd round pick. I would be very comfortable at going with a 4th rounder. But I am not doing anything from rounds 1 to even 3rd round is where I'm a little bit hesitant to even pull the trigger on that. But if you want to give him a 4th round pick, you got a plethora of 4th round picks. You have a plethora of 5th round picks. You want to take a shot on him with those picks. I would try and do that. I don't think you're going to get him if you do that because I think there's going to be a team that's going to be willing to give up a 2nd round pick or a 3rd round pick. But that's what I think the Browns should do. I think they should definitely do what they're doing right now and look at what, at everything that Brendan Sorsby is and evaluate and compare and contrast him with the current quarterbacks on the roster. And I think that it's something that we're definitely going to have to keep our eye on as Browns fans because there is smoke here. There is obvious and definite smoke here. And we'll see if there's any we'll see if this grows. We'll see if this grows into actually something that the Browns are very aggressive in pursuing. Now, one team that I think should definitely put a bid in on Brendan Sorsby, if I had to say a team, I honestly think that the Indianapolis Colts with Daniel Jones, they should absolutely use a second round or third round pick for Brendan Sorsby. I think Brendan Sorsby sitting behind Daniel Jones, I think they play similarly. I think Brendan Sorsby has a better arm than Daniel Jones. But man, if you want the best opportunity for Brendan Sorsby as a successful quarterback, putting him behind Daniel Jones and having him in Shane Steichen's offense for a couple years as the backup and just have him learn the game and get all of his stuff right off the field and that, I think that would be a perfect spot for him going forward in his NFL career. But we'll see what the Cleveland Browns do. But something to definitely keep your guys' eye on. We're going to be covering it here on this channel. Make sure you guys stay tuned for that because there's going to be so much updates to this story. You guys are definitely not going to want to miss it. And we're going to be giving you all the updates that you guys need to stay informed with. It's going to be right here on Benchwarmer Sports. So the Cleveland Browns are interested in Brendan Sorsby, but are you guys interested in Brendan Sorsby? Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you guys want the Cleveland Browns to go after Brendan Sorsby? And if you do, what type of draft pick are you willing to give up to get Brendan Sorsby if he decides to declare for the supplemental draft? Are you guys willing to give up a second round pick like Mary Kay Cabot? Or are you guys willing to give up something like me, like a fourth or a fifth round pick or a third round pick? Let me know in the comment section down below what you guys are willing to give up. And thank you guys so much for watching. Please hit the like button, subscribe if you are new and you guys enjoy this content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys all in another video. Take care, everybody.